Hello, I'm Hannah Kaplan, and this is the WCS Wild Audio Podcast, where you'll find reported audio stories covering the latest news and newsmakers from WCS's field sites, zoos and aquarium, and their conservation partners. We've got a great show today, so let's get to it. Mariana Varese is the Peru-based director of WCS's Amazon Landscapes program. She recently spoke to Wild Audio about a new initiative, Together for Conservation, that seeks to conserve biodiversity while preventing environmental crime in the Amazon. The project brings Indigenous peoples and local communities together with journalists, private companies, and civil society groups to develop conservation solutions that can be expanded or replicated across the Amazon. Nat Moss reports.
Wild meat, ornamental fish, jaguar teeth and skins, birds, turtles, and frogs destined for the pet trade. These are just some of the Amazon's natural bounty being stripped from the region's forests and rivers for a clandestine trade in global wildlife that ranks fourth in sales after drugs, arms, and people. The loss of these resources creates great hardships for the indigenous peoples of the Amazon. Mariana Varese explains.
In the Amazon forests and freshwater systems, the people live out of the forest. And a very important aspect of their lives is harvesting resources from the forest. It could be fruits, it could be fibers, it could be hunting and fishing.
A new WCS initiative supported by the U.S. Agency for International Development seeks to address the crisis of transnational wildlife crime that threatens both biodiversity and the lives and livelihoods of people in the Amazon. Together for Conservation, or Conservando Juntos, brings indigenous communities together with journalists and other civil society groups. Key partners include the conservation NGO RARE, local organizations like IPAM from Brazil and Pro Naturaleza from Peru, and the international media support NGO nonprofit Internews.
The major environmental threats where this project focuses, among the different threats that you can find in the Amazon, are those associated with environmental crimes. And specifically, wildlife trafficking, illegal, unregulated, and unreported fisheries, illegal mining, and illegal timber logging.
Too often, says Mariana, the people most impacted by these illegal activities do not have the support they need to address the problem.
The people in the field are left basically alone in defending nature from illegal activities or from environmental crimes. And so this project is a part of a bigger strategy by WCS of addressing environmental crimes. On the one hand, we work alongside with governments to strengthen their capacities and ultimately their effectiveness in enforcing the law and making crimes more costly and more difficult and less beneficial. And on the other hand, we work with civil society to create an environment that enables the sustainable and legal practices, and an environment that at the same time is not fertile ground for crime.
For an initiative related to the Together for Conservation effort, NGO partner RARE has launched a solution search contest called Changing Unsustainable Trade. The contest hopes to identify approaches to reducing illegal or unsustainable wildlife trade that have proven successful.
Contestants will apply by describing their experiences, and then 10 finalists will be selected by a jury of experts. And then these finalists will receive training and will work together to strengthen these solutions they have devised from a behavioral change science perspective, identifying what are the levers that make people change their behavior so that the solutions we work on and the activities we propose to foster conservation are more effective. In the end, there will be 2 prizes of $20,000 each that will be given out to 2 winners.
Mariana has a set of metrics and deliverables she's aiming for that will help gauge the effectiveness of the Together for Conservation project. But there are other ways to measure success, she says. Her hopes for the conservation of the Amazon are as bold as they are specific.
Imagine civil society actively and consciously working for a sustainable future in the Amazon. Imagine people going to the shops and proactively looking for those products that come from the Amazon that are certified or that can be traced to a sustainable source, even if they have to pay a little more, and they can pay a little more. Imagine voters, when deciding for whom to vote, they have environmental and Amazon people's interests in mind. Imagine enterprises, companies, that when they have to figure out their annual planning or their strategic plan, they take into account the enormous subsidy that nature gives them to be profitable. And they figure out ways to give back to nature, or at the very least to prevent proactively the existence of crime in their industries, in their surroundings. And I guess most importantly, I would love to see indigenous peoples and local communities being empowered to defend their rights to live happily and well, with health, with prosperity, in their own lands, with their own way of life, without being threatened by outsiders trying to poach their resources, their lands. And the cherry on top of the cake is that we connect across borders in the Amazon, recognizing the planetary health depends on the Amazon health and on the peoples of the Amazon.
It's an inspiring vision of what it means to work together for conservation, and one sure to be reinforced this month in Montreal at the global meeting of the Convention on Biological Diversity. For WCS Wild Audio, this is Nat Moss.
Today's episode was produced and reported by Nat Moss with help from Hannah Kaplan and Dan Rosen. The episode was made possible with the support of the American people through the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID. The contents are the responsibility of the Wildlife Conservation Society and do not necessarily reflect the views of USAID or the United States government. For more information on the Changing Unsustainable Trade Solution Search Contest, go to solutionsearch.org/contests. The WCS Wild Audio Podcast is a production of the Wildlife Conservation Society. Please join us next week for a new episode, and don't forget to rate or review the show wherever you get your podcasts.